Okay, 6th grade, our objective today is to talk about circumference and area of circles. One more time, just a recap of what I told you, is you will not have a quiz in Chapter 10. You'll have a chapter test sometime next week, and then we're going to start reviewing for the last cumulative exam. Okay, and that'll be it. What'd you say, Nathan? We're going to review like we're having the quiz, but you're not having the quiz. But you can take it if you want, yeah. It won't count as a grade. All right. Neil, I just spent a couple minutes talking about that. Okay? Yes. Okay, so warm-up. Let's go over the warm-up questions from yesterday. What is the area formula of a parallelogram? That goes to number 1. Camille? Good. So of a parallelogram, area is base times height. How do you solve number 1 on the warm-up? Mike? Good. So what is height? What did you guys get for the height? Abigail? Good. The height is 31 inches for the first warm-up question. Okay, the second one, what figure is that? Jordan? Yes, sorry, I was looking at the wrong thing. Yes, so how do you do that? Good. So we have a parallelogram here. I'm just going to abbreviate. They're trying to trick you here by giving you a lot of different sides here. So what did you guys get for the area by doing base times height? Camille? Good. 96 meters squared. What is the formula for a trapezoid? So if we had a trapezoid up there, how would we find it? Mike? Good. So trapezoid, base 1 plus base 2 times the height, and then divide by 2. Okay, any questions on either one of those? Okay, let's go over homework, and then we're going to talk about circles today. Circles. All right. So 10.3. And the class, you can do your circle thing, whatever it is, if you want. Oh, yeah. All right, if you want to do it later today. All right. All right, Ray, number 1 on homework. Okay, guys. Good, 33.48 yards squared. Greta, number 2. Yep. Good, Abigail, number 3. I got 0.4. That might have been me. Hey, guys, quiet, okay? Okay, number 4, Steve. Good. Jordan, number 5. Good, 98 inches squared. Ben, number 6. Good. 7, Skylar. Good. Josh, number 8. Good. Number 9, Michelle. Good. 6.7 millimeters. Alexis, number 10. Good. Peyton, number 11. Good. Number 12, Evan. Okay, and what kind of figure was it? Good. So we had a parallelogram for number 12, and it was 24 units squared was the area. To find the area of that one, all you had to do was count how long the base was and how long the height was. If you don't know what I mean, I can show you that in a minute. Camille, 13. Good job. So trapezoid and 14 units squared. Nathan S., number 14. You said 28. Okay, it's not 28, sorry. You forgot to divide by 2. Here I am thinking you said 14. Yeah, make sure you do, Camille, base 1 plus base 2. Forgot about the dividing by 2. Okay. Nathan S., what'd you get for 14? Good job. That was a hard one. 14 is 92 feet squared. Jackie, 15. Good. 524 inches squared. Okay. Questions on any of that? Josh, what number? Okay, so number 12, I want you to look at the graph on your paper, Josh. Okay, the height is 4, right? Did you get that the height is 4? And then if you count across for the base, did you get 6 units? Gia, hold on. Okay, 6 times 4 is not 10. Okay. Hey guys, no yelling out. This corner of the room. No yelling out. Mike. Don't use a distance formula. You're counting across. You're not counting the diagonal. You're counting the width from this end to this end. Correct. Yeah, count across. Right? 14. Okay, Gio, did you have a question on 12? Sure. Okay. Okay, so here is 14. So, Ray, what you had to do, they gave us that this is 6 on 14, this is 7, the top of this is 5, the whole base down here is 12, and this height is 10. So you need to split this so you have a parallelogram here and a parallelogram here. Do you see how I split it? So you're finding the area of each parallelogram. This parallelogram right here, you're just doing base times height. So you have 5 times 10, which is 50. Did you get that one or no? That's for this one right here. Okay. The other parallelogram, we're taking 7 times 6. Here's our base. Here's the height. So you end up with 42 for the area here. And then when you add those, you get 92. You okay? So I think the hardest part on 14 and 15 was knowing how to split them up. Once you knew how to split them up, I think it was pretty easy. Camille? That's fine. Yeah, there's a couple ways to split them up. That's fine. As long as you understand what formulas to use, Camille, you're fine. Abigail? Okay. So for 15, let me do a quick sketch of this. Woo, that's not so good, but you guys get the point. This is 20 inches, this is 18 inches, this is 15 inches, this is 9. The whole base is 35, and we know these are right angles. So here's how I split it up. I drew a line right here so that we had a rectangle here and a trapezoid here. Did you do that? Okay. So to find the area of the rectangle, you're just taking length times width. So you have 35 times 9. You get 315. Did you get 315 for that? Okay. So the trapezoid up here, here's the hard part. Base 1 plus base 2 is pretty easy. What the heck did I do with my work here? Hold on, give me a second. Okay, the 18 plus 20. So we have 18. Hey, hold on a second here. What'd you say? Okay, but let me show you. Here's what I was trying to figure out. Okay, so this base right here is 20 units. Do you know how I got 20 for this base right here? Take 35 minus 15. Okay, so this base here is 20. And then the height here, you need to take 20 minus 9, and you get 11. Did you get 11 for that? Oh, then you're fine. So 18 plus 20 times the height divided by 2. So you did 20 plus 20. That's all you did wrong. I was confused for a second where I found that 20. I forgot how I did that. You okay? So you get the area of that is 209, and then when you add 209 and 315, you get 524. Jackie? What number?
There's no cost for club members. You must sign up.
You made a what?
You are registered no later than this Friday.
That's fine. That's fine. There's a couple ways to split that one as well, just like 14. So you're fine. Peyton? Yep. 10, you got the wrong answer. Okay. Number 10, we are given the area as 135, and we need to find height. So we have 29 plus 31 divided by 2, and then keep your height on the top. Did you have it set up like that? Okay, when you add 29 plus 31, Alyssa, that pink folder, did you see it? Okay. So we have 135 equals 60 times h divided by 2. And then I would divide by 2, change it to 30. Okay, and then when you divide there, you get 4.5. You okay? Anyone else? Drew? You got what? Okay, did you follow what I just did?
Also, girls will not accept their understanding stuff. Please do so immediately and sign off when you do so. This is just a reminder that any girl not participating in fundraising will not be invited to participate.
Yeah, don't do that. If you're going to get rid of the 2 first, you could multiply both sides by 2, but don't divide. It's just this side divided by 2. Remember, area equals base 1 plus base 2 times height divided by 2, not the other side. Okay, Gio? Oh, 4.5. Greta.
If you have any questions, please see the activities on the senior pack.
Because you're dividing this whole term by 2. So even if the h was 2 and there was 120 on top, when you divide by 2, you get 60. It doesn't matter because you're taking 2 from the numerator. It's from the entire numerator, not from each number separately. So that never matters in math. That's a very good point, though. Do you know what I mean by that? Okay. Eventually, we're taking care of the h. It's not like we're just moving it with this 60 and 2. The h is still staying there. Yeah, good question. But don't ever worry about that. Anyone else? Anyone need a repeat or another one to go over? Okay, let's open up your notes to 10.4, which is all about circles. It should be page 9 in your notes.
Circles.
Yep. Okay, so yes, this lesson's pretty easy. Isn't that background pretty cool? I decided to find a fun background for today. All right, so objective is to talk about circumference and area of circles. I'm going to go pretty quickly through this because I know you guys have already learned this. Yes, there are some more challenging problems towards the end of the lesson, but that's as hard as it's going to get. So first thing is we need to talk about a couple definitions. First one is diameter. So diameter is the distance from the end of the circle to the other end, but it goes through the center. So diameter of a circle is distance from one end of the circle to the other, but it goes through the center. And I'm sure you guys know that. Half the diameter is the radius, always. You know, do you want to wait till the bell rings? Okay. Okay, center, all points in a plane that are the same distance from a fixed point. I'm going to call your teacher real quick so she knows. Hey, it's Angela. She's going to stay until the bell rings. Is that okay? Okay, thank you. Okay, sorry. So center, all points in a plane that are the same distance from a fixed point. Jackie? You can read it again? Okay. All points in a plane that are the same distance from a fixed point. Janelle, just make sure those are on my desk before you leave. Neil? Yeah, so from the center, if I drew a line from here to the end, it's the same distance as drawing a line from here to here, from here to here. So it just means that the radii are all the same, no matter where you draw it. Gia. It is, but, so that's a good question. So here's typically a diameter. A chord could be here, could be here, could be here. Yes? When you get to geometry, you're going to talk more about that. It still could be, because technically the definition of a chord is it's a segment that goes from one end of the circle to the other. You can still call this a chord, yes. You guys will do more of this. I think it's chapter 8 still in geometry. So, yeah, good point though. Radius, and we're going to talk about chord eventually here. Radius is the distance between the center and any point on the circle. So radius is the distance between the center and any point on the circle. So again, radius is the distance between the center and any point on the circle. Last definition on this page is that area is the space inside the circle. So just like area of anything, it's the space inside the circle. If we were to find area of this room, it'd be how many tiles are on the floor. Oh, you're welcome. What'd you say, Drew? I don't know. Okay, so here, that's on the next smartboard slide. Okay, 6th grade, another reminder, no yelling out, you need to raise your hands. Here's a picture from your book of a circle just explaining and showing you. Here's the center, here's an example of a radius, here's an example of a diameter, and then, which I'll talk about in a second, your circumference is always the distance around, always. Okay, so circumference, nice and big here for you guys to see. The distance around the circle. So circumference is the distance around the circle. Just like perimeter, but with a circle, we call it circumference. Gio? Go for it. What do you think this formula for circumference is? That's area. That works, and there's another one you can use. Joseph? That's the area. That's okay. Anything else? That's what Gio said, but there's another formula we can use for circumference. Camille? Good job. You guys got all of them. That's why this lesson's pretty simple. Okay, so one of the formulas for circumference is 2 times pi times r. Because 2 times the radius is same thing as the diameter, the other formula for circumference is pi times diameter. You can use either one. They find the exact same answer. I try to use the one that's easier. For example, for given diameter, I just use the one with diameter. For given radius, I use one with radius. You do not need to use the pi button on the calculator, okay, or Kevin, since he has them memorized. You can just use Drew. You can just use 3.14. That's what your book says on the homework for tonight. Use 3.14 for pi. However, if you use the pi button on your calculator, your answer will be pretty close to using 3.14. Using the button on the calculator is more accurate, but the book, I don't think, realizes that you guys use graphing calculators a lot because those do have the pi button. So we're just going to use 3.14 for today. Kevin, if you feel comfortable at some point, let us know. We'll have you recite your pi. Okay, area of a circle is pi r squared. Area of a circle is pi r squared. And then I want you to write underneath that or next to that we are going to use pi is 3.14. So area of a circle is pi r squared. We are using 3.14 for pi. And wherever you have room, you can jot that down, just a side note for you. Gio? Yeah. Oh, yeah, you are right. That's interesting. Hold on. I know it's upside down. Well, I was just going to try to flip it. Hold on. There's what Gio was talking about. Isn't that kind of interesting? It looks like it says pi. Never really thought of that. That's pretty cool. What made you think of that? That was pretty good. Just looking at 3.14? That's awesome. All right, let's do example 1A. So it says identify the radius and diameter of each figure. So Ray, in the first one, it's kind of hard to see in your notes. So I tried to write it on mine so you could see. That's a 20. So the line going from the end of the circle through the center to the other end is 20. So Ray, what is the diameter of that circle? 20 kilometers. Okay, if that's the diameter, Nathan M., what is the radius? Good. Radius is always half the diameter, so it's 10 kilometers. Okay, let's do one more of those. Letter B, the end of the circle to the other end, going through the center, is 14 centimeters. So, Evan, what's the diameter of letter B? Letter B. Diameter. Good, 14. So diameter is distance, guys, going from one end to the other and through the center, so 14. Mike, what's the radius? Okay, no laughing. It's not nice. So 7 centimeters. Radius is always half the diameter, always. Okay, let's flip over and look at Roman numeral number 2, example A. We have a quarter here. And it says, find the circumference and area of each figure. Use 3.14 for pi. Round your answer to the nearest tenth. Show your work. So it tells us all we know about this coin is the diameter is 1.8 centimeters. If that's our diameter, what is the radius? Let me start there. If 1.8 centimeters is the diameter, what's the radius, Nathan? Good. So the radius is 0.9 centimeters. Let's start with finding the circumference. Since they gave us the diameter, what's the best formula to use, Nathan S? Pi times? Good. So pi times diameter, which is pi times 1.8. So if you have your calculator, if you don't want to do this in your head, we're taking 1.8 times 3.14, and we're rounding to the nearest tenth. So Kevin, what did you get? 5.65. Good, 5.65, but we're rounding to the nearest tenth. So let's round that to 5.7 centimeters. True? You have a question? Yeah, it might be. Yeah, it's a dime. My notes, it's the coin. Everything's so dark, it's hard to see. Is yours dark? Okay. Yeah, it's a dime. Okay. You know, after making copies a lot, for some reason it does not copy everything correctly. So yeah, it's a dime, sorry. Okay, so after we find the circumference, which is the distance around, they ask us to find the area. So area is pi r squared. So I'm just going to rewrite the formula. We are plugging the radius in, which is 0.9. Be careful. You guys should know this from our order of operations, but you should take 0.9 squared first and then multiply that by 3.14. So go ahead and do that. Square 0.9 first and then multiply that by 3.14 so you know that you're doing this correctly. And rounding to the nearest tenth, what did you get for letter A? Alexis? Good, 2.5. And that one is already rounded, and we have centimeters squared. Don't forget when we find area to make sure it's units squared. Questions on that? Steve? Okay, did you do 0.9 squared first? You need to do 0.9 squared. That's why you forgot to square it. And then times 3.14. Remember, Steve, area is always pi r squared. So square the radius and then multiply by 3.14. Okay, anyone else? All right, let's look at Roman numeral number 3, letter A. So we're going to skip to that and then do one more problem after that. Okay, Roman numeral number 3, letter A. So we have a Jeep steering wheel, at least that's what it looks like on mine. We need to find the radius and the diameter. Okay, it says again, use 3.14 for pi, round to the nearest tenth. So now we're given area. So we have area, which is 735, equals pi r squared. We need to find radius and diameter. Very first thing you need to do is get rid of pi. So we need to divide both sides by 3.14. I'm going to leave it as pi, but you're really taking 735 divided by 3.14. So we have r squared equals 234.08. I'm just going to leave it to the nearest tenth for now. Or hundredth, I mean, sorry. How do we get rid of the exponents? We have r squared equals 234.08. I know I didn't round to the nearest tenth yet. Amberly? Good. We now need to square root both sides. Since we already have a decimal, you don't need to simplify the radical completely. You can keep your radius, in this case, to a decimal. So square root that. Let's round this one to the nearest tenth. What is the radius? Abigail? Good. 15.3 inches. So there's our radius. We now need to find the diameter. Mike? Good. Multiply that by 2, you get 30.6 inches. And you guys remember these formulas pretty well, right? Any questions on finding radius or diameter on that one? Okay, I want to do one more with you guys. On the closing letter A, this is as difficult as these will get. So, it's not bad. It's not hard, but that's as hard as they're going to get. So here we go. We need to find the area of the shaded portion. Anyone have any idea how we would do that for letter A? Shane? Awesome. We're going to find the area of the square, and then we're going to subtract it from the area of the circle. So how do we find the area of that square, Ben? Good. So the area of the square is 64 feet squared. And our circle, do you guys have your center drawn on the circle? Okay, draw a point in the middle for the circle. How do we know what the radius is? Oh, look at all these hands. Jordan, how do you know that? Awesome job. You know a square has all sides congruent, so the midpoint or the exact center of the square, which is the center of your circle, is 4 units. That's your radius. Going from the center to the end. It's half the distance of the square because that circle, it's called that it's inscribed inside the square. That's something you'll learn in geometry as well. So let's find the area of the circle, which is pi r squared. Pi times 4 squared. So if you take your calculator and type in 16 times 3.14, remember always square the radius first, then multiply by 3.14. Abigail, what's the area of the circle? Good. 50.2. Decided to round to the nearest tenth. Yeah. 50.2 feet squared. And it doesn't matter. You could round to the hundredth. So we have the area of each. Drew? No. Pi? No. You have to use this one. Pi r squared. The only one that has 2, Drew, is circumference, 2 times pi times r, or pi times diameter. Because 2 times radius is the same thing as diameter, but r squared is not the same thing as 2 times d, or 2 times r. You know what I mean? So this is the only formula for area of a circle that you can use. Anyone else have questions? Okay, so last step is take 64 minus 50.2. This gives us the area of the shaded region, which is all around the circle. So what is the area of just the shaded region, Neil? Good. 13.7 feet squared is the area. Yeah, I know. It depends on how you round. That's fine. Depends on. That's fine. If you guys left it as 13.7 because maybe you rounded something differently, or maybe you used the pi button, you're fine. I'm not going to take off if you don't have to the exact decimal point. Ben? I know, but did you hear what I said, though? If you use the pi button, it's going to be a little bit different. So if you do round, let's say maybe I don't know you used the pi button and you left this as 13.7, I would not take off. Because some people like to use the pi button, some people like to use 3.14. Neil? Yeah, that's why I said, right, I did the same thing as you. That's the same thing on my paper. Any other questions? Okay, you guys are going to do 2 assignments. So open up your homework packet first to 10.4. Okay, 10.4. You guys are going to do the odds. And then in your homework packet, I want you to do the 10.1 to 10.4 review. You're not having a quiz on it, remember, we're just having a chapter test. In your homework packet, that is pages 153 and 154. There's not that many, guys. You're only doing the odds on 10.4. The review has 15 questions. You can handle this. We have... Okay, so ready? Let me say that again. Just regular 153. So let me say that again. Practice 10.4. You only need to do the odds, because if you know how to do the odds of the circles, you can do all of them. The review is, I already have it in your homework packet. The regular pages, well actually just page 153, but there's a front and a back. So the page 153, it looks like this. You need 153, not 154. Yeah, I know. That's because I thought the back of it was 154. So 153, but there's a back to it that does not have a page number. Thank you, Abigail, for telling me that. At the top of it, it says 10.1 to 10.4 review. Okay, so you're going to do both front and back of this, okay, which is 1 to 15, and then practice 10.4, just the odds. So you have 2 things because I'd like to have some time to get through some of the surface area formulas. That's why I'm not quizzing you on the first part of this chapter. Plus, it's pretty easy, so you guys don't need a quiz. Is everyone okay with where these are? Okay, you have about 6 minutes to get started, so go ahead and get started. Use 3.14 for pi, and then round to what they tell you to round to. Okay?